Hi, welcome to this video on integrating Snowflake with MX using the powerful integration options available in our marketplace. In today's fast-moving world, having access to real-time data can really make a difference, especially when you're building enterprise apps. That's why we're excited to walk you through how MX makes it simple and seamless to connect with Snowflake, one of the most powerful cloud data platforms out there. Snowflake is trusted by enterprises across industries for its ability to handle massive data workloads with speed, security, and flexibility. With VoltMX, you can now bring this rich data ecosystem directly into your apps without complex backend integrations. In this video, we'll walk you through how to set up a sample Snowflake environment, establish a secure OAuth 2 connection in Foundry, leverage three powerful integration options including one backend service and two data adapters from our marketplace, and finally connect everything to a working VoltMX app. So let's dive in. Before we jump into the demo, let's take a look at the three integration options we'll be using today. First up, the Snowflake SQL API. This is our go-to for running SQL queries directly from our Voltaris apps. Whether we're reading data, writing to tables, or managing the Snowflake environment, we can handle it all using this service. Next, Snowflake Cortex Search. This one brings AI-powered search capabilities right into our applications. It's great for building advanced search experiences that can dig deep into Snowflake data and surface exactly what the users are looking for. And finally, the Snowflake Table API. This helps us manage tables with ease. We can list existing tables, create new ones, clone what we need, or even delete the tables we're done with, all through simple API calls. Now that we've seen what we're working with, let's dive in and see these in action. First step is to get our Snowflake environment ready. Remember that everything we're setting up here is just for demo purposes. In real projects, you'll be working with your organization's actual Snowflake setup, which will have proper access controls and real production data. Once we're logged in, we'll land on the Snowflake homepage. From here, let's head over to the Worksheets section and open a new SQL worksheet. This is where we will create a new database, define a schema within that database, and set up a warehouse to manage our compute resources. Here are the sample SQL queries we're using to get everything set up. Once we run these, our database and schema will be ready, and we can see them listed on the left panel. Next, we'll create a table with specific column names and data types, and we'll add some mock data to simulate a real-world use case. Here's the syntax we're using. Once we run that, our table is created. And if you look over on the left here, you'll see the populated table with our sample data. And that's it. We now have a working Snowflake table ready to be used. Whether you're pulling sales number, analyzing customer feedback, or tracking inventory, this process stays the same. Our Snowflake environment is now all set. Let's move on to the integration part. Now comes the important part, securely connecting Volt Foundry to Snowflake. Foundry acts as the bridge between our VoltMX app and Snowflake, and we'll use an identity service to make that connection using OAuth 2. We'll first sign into Volt Foundry and create a new app by clicking Add New. Once that's done, we'll head to the Identity Service section of the app and click Configure. We can see that Foundry supports multiple identity providers. For our demo, we'll go ahead and choose OAuth 2 as the identity type. Now, we'll see a few required fields for authorization endpoint, token endpoint, client ID, and client secret. To get these values, we need to run specific code in our Snowflake worksheet, as you can see here. And here, we need the redirect URL from Foundry. We'll find this in our identity configuration section as callback URL. We'll copy this and paste it into our Snowflake code, then execute the query. Once we run that, we'll get the authorization endpoint, token endpoint, and client ID. We'll bring those values right back into Foundry and paste them in. For the client secret, we'll run one more command in Snowflake, and once we have that, we'll paste it in too. So this is the actual identity service we have created. Now it's time to test the connection. We'll click Test Login and sign in using our Snowflake credentials, the same ones we used to log into Snowflake. If everything's working, we'll get a bearer token. This token will be used later when we start making API calls from our app. And just like that, we have set up a secure connection between Vault Foundry and Snowflake. For Cortex Search Service, we have created this customer feedback table in Snowflake. This table contains product reviews, 1 to 5 star ratings, customer details, and which sales events drove those purchases. And here's the syntax we used to create the Cortex Search Service. This service creates an AI-powered search index that combines all our feedback data into searchable text. So now users can search for things like Black Friday electronics and get intelligent contextual results, not just basic SQL matches. Basically, we're combining fields like rating, category, feedback text, and sales event into a single smart search string called feedback listing. We're also setting filterable attributes for category, sales event, and feedback date. This allows for natural search, like asking for positive Black Friday electronics feedback and getting an AI-enhanced result instead of plain keyword matches. And here's the actual customer feedback table we created. Now that the service is ready, we can connect to it in Foundry using the Cortex Search Data Adapter. We can download the data adapter from MX Marketplace. Just click on the download button on the Marketplace page. We can also access detailed documentation right here to help with implementation. Next, we'll head to Foundry, go to API Management, and click on Custom Data Adapters. Click Import and upload the zip file we just downloaded. Once the adapter is imported, we can use it to create an integration service in our app. Go to the integration section, click on the plus button to add a new service. From the list of service types, we'll select the adapter we just imported. After importing, we'll need to update the server URL. You can find this in the account section of the Snowflake admin console. Next, we'll link it to the identity service we set up earlier. We'll give our service a name and then click Save and Add operation. Once the service is created, we can go ahead and define operations. We'll go to the Operations List tab and choose the operation we want and click Add operation. In the Request Input tab, we'll enter the test values for all the fields we want to query. As you can see, we're using the customer feedback service that we built in Snowflake. In the header section under Request Input, we'll add the bearer token we got earlier from the identity service, and for the user agent, we'll enter the name of our application. Now we'll click Save and Fetch Response to run a test. And here we have the results from the Cortex Search Service, displaying all the positive feedback based on the query we put. We can even see the list of databases available through this adapter. This is exactly how we can configure the rest of the data adapters, or really any adapter in Vault Foundry. Now that our services are ready in Foundry, it's time to bring them into our VoltMX app and start using them in the front end. Open Volt Iris and create a new project. For this demo, we're building a native mobile app, so we'll select that option. Once the app is created, we'll go to the Data and Services section on the right-hand side. We can either click here or use the hamburger menu in the corner to choose Open Foundry Console. From here, we'll see a list of our Foundry apps. We'll pick the one we want to connect and click Associate. Now that our project is connected, we can start working on the UI of the app and choose which services to import by selecting from Project Services on the right. We can drag and drop these services directly onto our forms for instant functionality. Then we can update the logic using the action editor without writing any code. Or if we prefer more control, we can write our own logic using Iris APIs. We can do that in the controllers section of Iris. An integration service connects our app to external systems like Snowflake. Once imported, each operation becomes available inside Iris. We can either use the visual approach or write JavaScript code to call the service with input and handle the output. We have built a basic sample app to demonstrate how all three Snowflake APIs, the SQL API, Cortex Search, and Table API, work together inside a VoltMX application. Now that we've configured our services and integrated them into our application, let's see it all come together in action. So firstly, we'll sign in to our app using the demo account that we created on Snowflake. So we're using the same credentials. Once we successfully log in, we'll see this dashboard which integrates multiple Snowflake APIs. We'll see that one by one. Through create table, we can create a new table in our Snowflake database. We just need to give it a name, select the data type, and enter the field values. First, we have created a column for the table, and then we are creating the table. Now our table is created and we can view it using the view table feature. Here we have an example of a table we have already created. So I'm showing you that. Using the delete table feature, we can also delete any tables that we have in our database easily. For Cortex search, we're going to look into our customer feedback table. We want to look for positive feedback from Black Friday sales, so we'll search that. And here we have it. Now we can also save this as a new table to use somewhere else. And lastly, we have also demonstrated how you can execute your SQL queries directly from the app. Let's quickly recap what we've covered today. First, we set up our Snowflake environment, creating the database, schema, and warehouse needed to power our application. Then we implemented OAuth 2 authentication in Vault Foundry, creating a secure enterprise-grade connection between our platform and Snowflake data sources. We explored three powerful integration options from our marketplace in action: the SQL API for running direct queries on Snowflake, Cortex Search for enabling AI-powered search across structured feedback, and the Table API for managing database tables with ease. Finally, we brought it all together by bringing Snowflake data directly into a VoltMX mobile application, enabling real-time dynamic user experiences. You can sign up for a free trial and explore VoltMX training resources using the QR codes on screen. Be sure to visit the VoltMX marketplace to explore these integration options and unlock the full potential of your enterprise data. Check the description below for additional resources to help you get started. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next video.